This is the Kate Daly Show.
Welcome back. If you're watching us on video on Patriot TV, you'll see a photo that I have up, and this was a picture that Kenneth House took, and it's from his airplane overlooking the damage. And so, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And I've got Kenneth House with me, and talking about what it's been like to fly in supplies to the people in North Carolina. We had zero government response. They were given a chicken little $750 if they could apply for it, if they got chosen to get it. And I saw a meme with somebody drowning while the helicopter dumps off a $750 check on somebody's head. And it's just been really sad to see what the government's done with this. And there the zero response. People also saw lots of things, lots of chemtrails, lots of all kinds of things in the sky right before all of this happened, and we're kind of wondering about it. So I'm getting those reports from boots on the ground. Also, there's so many things I'm trying to remember. I get all of these messages, but just Kenneth, I just wanted to get from you what it's been like, and I'm sure the gratitude, the supplies coming from the people. What about the fuel and all of that? Who made this possible that you guys could fly in all these supplies?
It's all been civilian backed. We were running out of one small air park that's literally a bunch of civilians. There's a small flight school there. They told us they didn't know where they were going to get all of the money from. The last I heard on Friday, they had given out 853 gallons of fuel to pilots coming and going. And this was all private donated. There's ways that we can donate back. I've had a couple of people donate through me, and I just pass that straight on to this group because they're doing such a great thing.
Yeah.
They've told me that anything above the fuel supplies that people did not take are going back into buying more supplies. Even after the airdrop is over, they'll truck it into the location.
Were there networks that you're a part of to sort of make you aware and get you into this area? Because I'm wondering for the future, when we see more disasters, where do people go? And I made this suggestion last week that we should form Facebook pages, who does what, and so that people can get a hold of people. And I know that electronics would be down, but just so people know who in their area would be willing or could or whatever. Are you part of networks that sort of alert you?
Absolutely. There's one. Well, mostly it's through social media. Our backcountry pilot group is very tight, and we have a Facebook group that we go through. That's how I found about it, linked up with some other pilots in that area. But there are some big operators. There's one out of Texas that started years ago called Operation Airdrop.
Okay.
And they mostly did helicopters this time around, but they started in Texas with a big hurricane down there, and I would be lying if I told you which one it was. Probably Katrina.
Right.
But they have a huge network and outreach. They're all privately funded. They were going through between $30,000 and $50,000 a day of privately donated fuel in order to keep helicopters in the air, rescuing people from these mountain places. I saw a video on one of my friend's Facebook feeds the other day where he walked up from a helicopter, and this lady had been sitting on her porch for 8 days without seeing another human being, insulin dependent and without insulin. And he walked up and said, "Hey, we're here for you." And all she could do was jump up and give him a hug.
Oh, I bet. Oh, it makes me teary. I can't even imagine being stranded like that too. And it's a big warning for all of us, for sure. And so, did you get pushback?
Absolutely.
Did you get pushback from government officials?
Because we were on specifically small sites, we didn't have that issue. The only interaction we had was with a Chinook helicopter that was orbiting overhead, trying to come into an airport. And I'll give them credit on this one because I know the media nobody's saying anything good about the military, but this specific group said, "Hey, you guys go on in. We're actually going to orbit out here and talk to our operations center and see what we can do." Now, keep in mind that these were probably a guard unit that are normal pilots during the weekday and knew what we were doing.
Right.
And they knew that if they landed, they would close down our runway where we had 20 to 30 airplanes on the ground all the time coming and going. So I personally didn't see any of the crazy stuff going on, but I totally understand that, stress is high, tensions are high, people's People are not making the best of decisions sometimes.
Right.
So
right.
it's really hard to say what others' perspectives were. I know we all have our own perspective, but that was my personal experience with it.
Right. When did you first get alerted to it? Because I know that it really hit over the weekend, but we weren't really hearing the news, I think, until Monday, really hearing it about it. When did you first hear about it?
I started hearing about the Operation Airdrop stuff Tuesday morning.
Okay.
It took me until Wednesday morning to be able to get out of here and get up on the location. So that was the first that I had seen it. I don't really pay too much attention to the news because it's all so slanted. I go through private channels
Me too.
and social media and actual people on the ground that know what's going on, and that's how I got involved.
Amen, brother. I'm with you. I'm with you, Kenneth Howes. I'm serious. I'm totally with you on that. You can't trust anything really coming out of the press anymore. And so, what about Milton? Hurricane Milty, will you be going?
So right now we've kind of changed our focus. Like I said, North Carolina, a lot of the small towns have opened back up by road. There's still places in eastern Georgia that are open to road access. There are things in place that people are needing generators and gas for their generators because they're still without power over there. My focus is to try to help a lot of the group that are locally here. If there's a need for us in Florida, then absolutely, I'm going to be there. There's a group of us that are poised and ready to go.
Okay. Where was the worst of it? Was North Carolina? What about the surrounding areas? Where else did you notice was the worst?
It's actually amazing how much or how little attention through the media that Georgia is getting. I still have a multitude of friends on the east side of the state that had over 100-mile-an-hour winds. It took down pecan trees and pine forests that are used for pulp and paper. They're still sitting over there without power. These guys are dealing with it. And it's amazing because I saw swaths of trees that are just obliterated through friends' feeds and their pictures after they were able to get up and go flying as well.
Oh my gosh, you're right though. On the whole Georgia, it's not in the press. It's way more focused on North Carolina. So it's been.
There's still efforts here.
Jeez. Anything else you want people to know in this last minute of what you saw versus the news coverage?
No, just be aware where your money's going, people. Donate to something that somebody tells you about. One of the, like I said, Samaritan's Purse is another group that we dealt with. They're just a network of churches. It's all going to these people in need. Know where your money is going. Right. I've heard so many people saying that their money goes to FEMA and then it doesn't get out. American Red Cross is the same thing. For some reason, the money's not getting into where it needs to go. These other places are on the ball and getting it done.
Well, I really appreciate that advice too. We call it the red lost because sometimes you just don't know where it's going to go. And Texas actually called it that in their press conference meetings, their last major hurricane, because they were so angry at the money being completely not going to people at all in the heart of Texas. Yeah. So really appreciate you. Thank you, Kenneth Howes. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
You betcha. And of course, coming up, we're going to be talking about eminent domain. We're going to be talking about all kinds of land grabs, isn't it? I mean, is this one too? Who knows? But there sure is a lot of speculation about that. I'll be right back with two gentlemen and a young woman talking about this eminent land grab going on. Eminent domain land grab. Be right back on the Kate Daly Show.
This is Larry Myers asking